Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tura Foster Gillespie, and I am a deacon in the Northern Illinois Conference, appointed beyond the local church. I am blessed to be appointed to a ministry called Teaching Cultural Compassion. Often, when I say that, the first question is, we've heard of cultural competence, but what's cultural compassion? Academically, cultural competence is defined as the ability to honor and respect the beliefs, language, interpersonal styles, and behaviors of individuals and families. I use the term cultural compassion to refer to the first step of this process. Before we can truly learn about and honor cultures outside our own, we must first learn to see all humans with dignity and respect. Cultural compassion is the step we can teach our children to set up their growth into cultural competence. At Teaching Cultural Compassion, picture books are the tools used to help kids and their grown-ups see underrepresented demographics in their story time and be aware that God's love extends to everyone. As an example, allow me to read this book to you. This is the Church by Sarah Raymond Cunningham, illustrated by Ariel Landy, and read today with permission from Beaming Books. There's a little rhyme that children say, a song they sing sometimes when they play. This rhyme is about God's family. To do it, just move your hands like me. Here is the church. Here is the steeple. Open the doors and see all the people. What a great rhyme, isn't it neat? But wait, this story's not yet complete. There's more to the church than just those two lines. To learn about God's family, let's add to this rhyme. Some churches are big and wide, 10,000 people can fit inside. Other churches are really quite small. They fit just a few people, and that is all. Some people have church right where they are, right in their houses. That's not very far. And not all churches have roofs and floors. Some don't have steeples. Some don't have doors. Some people have church under the stars, and God comes and meets them right where they are. And in places where it's not safe to be found, some people even have church underground. And church isn't something that stands still, you know. The church follows God's people wherever they go. The church moves in buses, planes, and cars. To share God's love, the church has gone far. The church works among the sick, hungry, and poor, with people in need wherever they are. It's gone to cities, it's gone to towns, to school and to work. The church gets around. But how does this work? How can this be? Can the church really move like you and me? That's the secret. It certainly can. Church moves through your feet. It works through your hands. The people are the church, don't you see? Church is a word for God's family. Because Jesus said, where there are two or three who gather in my name, that's where I'll be. So let's go back to the old rhyme now. Get your hands ready. We'll show you how. Here is a building. It may have a steeple, but where is the church? The church is the people. On this day, the church welcomes you. You're part of God's people. You're the church too. Picture books say so much more than their words. Did you notice what the pastors in the book looked like? Did you notice what the families looked like? What else did you notice that you might not see in all picture books? There is unfortunately a large disparity in children's publishing in the United States. In 2024, the percentage of picture books featuring any non-white person was about the same as the percent of picture books featuring animals or inanimate objects as the main character. The ramifications of this underrepresentation are shown in literacy statistics. When kids don't see themselves in books, it's easy for them to believe that reading isn't for them. By using picture books that feature underrepresented demographics, we can offer mirrors to our kids and aid in their confidence to know their self-worth. Books are also windows for kids to see the diversity of the world and all of the people that God created in God's image. Then, when they go through that window or sliding glass door, if you will, they automatically assume the innate sacred worth of all people, whether they look alike or not. The seed that started teaching cultural compassion 10 years ago was a strange mix of doing children's ministry, doing an internship at the General Board of Church and Society, and working at a bookstore to help pay for seminary, all at the same time. I can still clearly visualize the moment when I was asked to cover someone's break in the children's department at the bookstore. I did not know the stock in that area, and when I was asked for help finding any books with diverse characters, I froze. Like many other people, I could come up with two titles: Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats and Corduroy by Don Freeman. Though these two books are still both popular enough that I could always count on them being on the shelf, they were both originally published in 1963. More than 50 years later, I should have been able to do better than that. This frustration with myself led to the curated collection of titles that is still growing today. At teachingculturalcompassion.com, there is a database of over 3,000 titles, searchable by the age of the audience, the heritage of the main character, the gender of the main character, and many other things, including special interest themes. I always felt that helping families find these books was great, but just hosting a database didn't feel like enough. I noticed that faith-based publishing houses are among some of the worst when it comes to inclusion. I also noticed that the majority of secular books that I read aimed at the same values and lessons we teach at the church. I knew that with just a little help, families and Christian educators could use these books for faith conversations. This feeling led to several other kinds of resources to support adults and their kids growing in faith. With the recent political climate, book bans are being more heavily used to censor minority voices. It is more and more clear that adults are willing to teach kids hate. Therefore, it is more and more important that we work to teach kids love, empathy, and compassion. As in the prayer of St. Thomas, we request hearts that will persist for the good. We must stay alert and keep working toward the vision set forth in Psalm 126. We can prepare our kids for the world God desires. We are the ones who dream, showing our kids the joy of loving people the way God loves. We may go out weeping as we sow, but we will indeed come home with shouts of joy, bringing in the sheaves of the generations who will learn to truly love all of their neighbors. As a previous recipient of the Bishop Jesse R. DeWitt Award for Service to Children from United Voices for Children, I thank you for giving your fifth Sunday offering to that wonderful organization. And now I will turn it back over to those of you who are in person. Feel free to visit teachingculturalcompassion.com for more information. And thank you so much for having me. And God bless.